This is the Insta360 GO 2. It's an ultra-portable, waterproof camera that packs a bunch of features that rival some of the best action cameras on the market today. Does size matter? Let's talk about it. First things first, this is not a 360 camera, as a lot of people mistake it to be. Also, Insta360 was kind enough to send this camera out to me for review, so thank you, Insta360. On the front, you'll find a lens with a protector that you can screw off, an LED indicator, as well as a single button. Long press to turn the camera on and off, and either single or double press for quick capture modes that you can set yourself. I set mine to record a pro video with a single tap and take a photo with a double tap. On the top is the only microphone that you'll find on the device, which performs pretty well for something of its size. It's not so great in the wind, and you'll definitely have to be careful where you're placing your fingers as to not cover the microphone, but for the most part, it's pretty usable. On the back, you'll find some contact points and magnets, which is how the device snaps into the charging case and secures into other mounts. Also, on the inside, there's a vibrational motor for alerts. So if the camera is mounted somewhere where it's hard to see that LED indicator in the front, that's how you know if the camera's recording or not. Jumping over to the charging case, it'll charge up the camera kind of like how AirPods does it. You can also fully use the camera while it's charging and in the case, which is nice because the case kind of acts as a grip. On it, you'll find a screen as well as two buttons to record as well as navigate the menus. You can also connect the camera to your phone to get access to all of these settings, which I prefer because it also includes a live view. On the back, there are two legs that come out for it to turn into a mini tripod. You also find a USB-C port to charge the camera as well as access the files if you plug it into your computer. There's also a 1/4-20 tripod mount, a cutout for the camera microphone, and an LED indicator. When the camera is out of the case, you can also use the case as a remote control. For example, if you have the camera mounted somewhere that's hard to reach, you can use the case to control it. So what are some things that I love about this camera? There are so many things. For one, the portability. The fact that this camera weighs in at 27 grams makes you forget that the camera is even there when you're wearing it, which is why it's so awesome for quick POV shots. Unlike when I use my GoPro Hero 9, it's usually a bulky strap situation, which takes longer to set up, is way heavier, and definitely looks more hardcore. You can literally throw this in a pocket or any bag and just have it with you anywhere you go. Paired with the magnets on the back means that you can almost always find a pole or object to stick it to and get a really cool angle. Oh. Speaking of angles, the Insta360 2 also comes with 3 mounts. First off, there's the pendant mount, which is just basically a necklace with a magnet on the end of it. So you tuck it inside of your shirt, take the camera, and you can pretty much stick it right there. And it doesn't matter if it's lopsided because the camera has horizon leveling, which we'll get into later. Now the pendant at first might seem a little gimmicky, but it's actually great as a chest mount alternative. It's not gonna be the most stable thing ever if you're bouncing around with it and it's wobbling a lot, and you can't really adjust the angle of it, but for quick shots, it works pretty well. And then there's the clip mount, which will work with hats or headbands. I used this mount when I played tennis, and I was actually pretty surprised at how stable it was. Now the nice thing with these mounts being magnetic is that they're so easy to mount that you can just literally swap from one to the other within seconds. The last mount is the pivot mount, which will work with flat surfaces, and the strip on the back is reusable with just a wash. Talking a little bit about image quality, the shots that come out of this tiny little camera are actually incredible. The quality isn't quite as crisp and clean as my GoPro Hero 9, but it's certainly good enough for social media work. Now speaking of social media, there's one feature about this camera that makes it so versatile, and that is the ability to change orientations in post. So you can actually rotate this camera 360 degrees and the horizon will stay level. Not only is this a really cool effect, but like I mentioned earlier, when you're mounting the device, you don't have to really worry too much about it being perfectly level. You can just kind of set it and forget it. But this also means that you can take any shot. For example, if you shot something horizontally in 16:9, take it and flip it vertical. And it's not just taking a crop of the horizontal version of the shot, but you're actually getting a larger vertical field of view when you do this. So especially for social media, if you have a cool clip that you want to use in 16:9 on YouTube, but then also repurpose it for 9:16 on, let's say, stories, you can do that with just a few taps in the app. And that's such a cool feature. All right, this camera seems great and all, but what about some things that can be improved on? But before we talk about that, I just wanted to say that if you're enjoying the video, make sure to click that like button and consider subscribing. We're trying to reach 100,000 by the end of the year, so any help is greatly appreciated. All right, back to the video. So this camera, unfortunately being so small, has built-in battery and storage, which means you aren't able to swap any of those out, and you're not getting much in either department. When the camera is out of the charging case, you can expect to get about 20 to 30 minutes of recording. Yeah, not great. When it's in the case, you get a more respectable 110 to 150 minutes of recording. As far as storage size goes, you're getting 28 gigabytes of usable storage, which means about 50 minutes of recording on Pro Video mode, which you'll definitely want to use because that's how you get the stabilization, the horizon leveling, and the ability to reframe in post. So yeah, you'll definitely want to offload your footage to either your phone or a computer every time you record with it to avoid running out of storage the next time you pick this thing up. Now, what does that mean in everyday usage? I found that the best way to use this camera was for quick clips. So if you know that something's about to happen, just hit the record button. And once that thing is finished, then you hit stop. This actually worked out pretty well, as I found having shorter clips made it easier to find highlights, as opposed to when I record with my GoPro. I typically just like to keep it on and record 10-minute files, so sifting through that, definitely not the most fun thing in the world. So I guess that's one upside of having smaller storage, although I definitely hope that they increase the storage size for the next iteration. Another thing that I think can be improved is the feedback you get from when you hit the record button. Again, bringing back the GoPro, I love the way that it beeps at me when the camera is on, when it starts recording, and when it stops recording. Whereas on the Insta360 GO 2, all you get is a vibration and a small little blinking white light in the front. I found that there were often moments where I was taken out of the activity that I was doing because I had to take the camera off the mount and look at the white LED to make sure it was blinking. The vibration is great, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't give you the same confidence as if there was a beep. Anyway, to wrap it up, here are my thoughts. Now, one thing that might be going through your head is, do I really need this camera if I already have a smartphone with a really good camera? And if I'm spending the money, shouldn't I just get something like the GoPro Hero 9? Well, here are a few things to consider. Comparing it to the smartphone, the Insta360 GO 2 is just so much more portable and easier to mount. You also don't have to worry about your phone getting dirty or damaged when you have it mounted in a dangerous spot. As far as the GoPro comparison goes, well, if you need something that can continuously record for hours on end, you definitely should go with the GoPro. The ability to swap batteries as well as storage, something that you definitely can't do on the Insta360 GO 2. But something that you're only getting on the Insta360 GO 2 as compared to these two cameras is the horizon leveling, which you'll need to pay $100 to get on the GoPro Hero 9 with the max lens mod, as well as the ability to change orientations in post, which may or may not be a big feature for you. For me, this camera has definitely earned a spot in my kit. For the reasons that I've already mentioned, and it just being so portable and easy to mount, I find this thing to be such a joy to use. I should also mention that Insta360 sells a mounting kit where you can use all of your GoPro mounts, so if you already own a GoPro, this can make a great addition to your kit. All right, that about does it for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and if you guys have any other questions, make sure to leave it down below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm also on Instagram if you want to connect with me there and see any behind the scenes footage. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.